Hello and welcome to Novel Knits. My name is Tanel and this is episode 38. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really glad you're here. It is a beautiful day here in southeastern Wisconsin. It's gonna be 75 degrees today. We normally don't get spring here. It normally goes from like 40 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is just wonderful. There's sunshine. It just like automatic good mood. Thanks so much for joining me. If you want to get in touch with me outside of this channel, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Novel Knit Girl. And everything I talk about today will be listed below this video. So links to my Ravelry pages that have like the yarn and the pattern names. Also any books I talk about. I will try to list everything there, but you can always leave me a message if you have a question or just want to say hi. I love hearing from you. And if you want to give this video a like or subscribe, if you like it, that would be amazing as well. My dog is here today, Penelope, so you may hear her rustling around. We got some new furniture in this room, so she's definitely not allowed on the furniture anymore. So we are working on that. It was funny, we got these gray couches. It was not at all what we thought we wanted when we went furniture shopping, but we really liked them. And then we got them home and they did not go in this room. So we had to shuffle some other furniture around and I think it looks really good now. It brings me a lot of joy. We needed a place where all four of us could sit in the same room to watch like, a game or a movie. And these have like recliners and I think it's gonna be really good for having older kids. All right, well, I'm gonna get into Vital Few, which is where I just talk about a few things going on, and then I will get into finished objects and works in progress. So the first thing is, I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've been on here. We went on spring break and I thought I would get to record either right before or right after, but I just didn't. So it's a little bit longer between episodes, which means I have a ton to talk about. But we went to Texas. I've been to Texas a few times in my life. This time we went to the Galveston area. My parents, who normally live one house away from me, so there's my house, our neighbor, and then my parents. In the winter, they're snowbirds, and usually they have gone to the Marco Island area in Florida, but this year they decided to try Jamaica Beach, Texas. So we went and visited them. It was nice. The weather was warmer than here, but not very sunny, so we missed the sunshine. I still managed to get a little sunburnt because we had spray sunscreen and it was windy, so the sunscreen just like went right past my body. But we had fun. We went to the NASA Space Museum in Houston, and that was really cool. The kids really loved it, which, you never know, because it did feel a little bit like educational, but they really enjoyed it. And then we spent a day on the beach, and I got to see one of my oldest childhood friends, who's still one of my very, very close friends, and her daughters. We obviously don't get to see each other very often anymore. So it was really wonderful spending time with her and her family, and then my family, and now my parents are back home and we're home and everything is right with the world again. So it was a good quick trip. My next thing I want to talk about is that I am going to start a new make along. I'm ready. It just hit me that I'm ready to do this. I am starting the Scraps, Minis, and More make along. Guys, you can make anything. So this is a participatory make along. So you don't have to finish anything. So if you have a long-term blanket whip going on, if you have an Advent mini set that you want to use or start, you don't even have to finish. If you like to make scrappy socks, if you make scrappy anything. The only rule I have, so it's open to knitting, crocheting, there's no size requirement, you don't have to finish. The only requirement is 3 yarns or more. And I think that's pretty reasonable. So you could make a pair of socks and just use a different yarn for the heel and cuff, and then you could use a different color for the rest of the set. So the More is open to discretion. So I'd like you to use either scrap or a mini skein, but the More is like if you need a full skein to ground your project, or if you have like half skeins left over, 50 gram, whatever you need to use. Just use at least 3 yarns and then you're in. So I hope you'll join me. I'm gonna talk about it for a little while, why I decided to start this make along right now. Before I do that, I'm quickly just gonna say, gonna go until October 31st. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's gonna be 2 grand prizes. One, I don't know yet, but one is going to be that I'm going to make somebody an advent calendar. I need a lot of time to do that, but then hopefully I'll be able to send it out in time for you to have it for Advent if you want, or if you just want to add it to your stash, that's cool too. But I will make that out of either mini skeins or scraps that I have, or some yarn that I dye. So it'll be, I'm gonna try to make it nice. I've never done this before, but it sounds like fun. You know, I'm gonna put some pressure on myself. And then I'll find another grand prize as well. And then I thought around the end of June, July, around my birthday, we'd do a quick check-in and I'd give away a few patterns. People seem to like a pattern giveaway. I know I do. So I thought that could be kind of our mid check-in point. So I'm going to open a thread on Ravelry in the group, Novel Knits podcast group. And yeah, it'll be open. If it's not open right now, it will be open shortly. Speaking of Ravelry groups, does anyone know how to like end a thread? I know I could ask the people at Ravelry probably, but I just thought I would crowdsource here because some of you have your own channels and groups on Ravelry. And I tried for like, probably not long enough, but I looked, I gave it a good look, and I could not find how to end a thread. So if you know and could let me know, that would be great. But yeah, that'll be starting right now. So the reason, Penelope, you need to stop, get down. She just loves when I'm talking to a camera of any sort. When I'm on Zoom calls, she has to be up in my lap. She's just very needy. I apologize. Hopefully she will calm down now. Okay, so the reason I wanted to start this is I have a lot of scrap yarn. Do you guys? I have so much. So I'm gonna show you. I have at least 5 scrappy blankets going, and I do love them, but they take some time. And yeah, I'll start with that, and then I will show you some more of my scrap yarn. So I had something happen this week, which we'll talk about in finished objects, and I needed a comfort knit. And I hadn't pulled out my Bits and Bobs blanket by Kay Jones for a long time. And I put some time on it, and it made me so happy. And I've been working on this blanket for at least 4 or 5 years. It needs to have its moment to shine and be completed. So this is a paid for pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. They have a podcast. I haven't watched it in a long time, but they do have a podcast. She and her husband, Dan. And yeah, here it is. Every time, I've thought about frogging this before, but every time I pull it out, I can't believe how soft it is. And I also love working on it. So since the last time I had pulled it out, I put, oh my goodness. The last time that I pulled this out, I was here. So I put this much on it recently, which felt really nice, and I just love it. So it is, I believe it's called a half brioche, or no, not half brioche. I believe it is a half fisherman's rib. It is so relaxing and enjoyable, and every time I pull it out, I want to work on it. So it's lovely. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna make it. I do want it longer than it is currently, because I like, if it's gonna be a blanket, I want it to be a blanket. So it'll probably, I don't know, math is not my strong suit, so I'm not sure like inches or centimeters, or I have no idea, but I'm going to work on it until, I don't know, it's at least to my chin. That seems reasonable. So I'm holding scraps with Knit Pick Stroll in Dove Heather. Jeez, I'm off today. Sorry about that. There we go. Oh, I'll try to get my act together. And then like this is Leading Men Fiber Arts in I Will Love You. It's so good. I made my husband a pair of socks in this. And that's the thing about these scrappy projects is like at least me, I can't remember many things, but I can remember what this yarn is from. But ask me anything important, I couldn't tell you. So that is one of my projects, and I'm going to just quickly show you the other ones that I have going. Some you've seen recently if you've been here, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. I will have them listed below if you're interested. So this is my Scraptastic Stash Busting blanket by Samantha Johnston of Hand Me My Knitting. And yeah, this is mini skeins, all mini skeins held together. I'm using magic knot balls. If you are interested in trying magic knot balls out, it is where you tie your yarn together and then you have no ends to weave in. It brings me a lot of joy. Even if they all come apart, I don't think I'm gonna regret it because I'm a process knitter and the process of not having to weave in ends is wonderful. But all you have to do is type into YouTube magic knot ball tutorial and like a bunch of videos come up. I don't remember which one I used. I think I've used a few different ones because I started this a few years ago and then I had to make more. So that's a great thing about knitting, is that there's always a resource out there for you. Yeah, so here's what my magic knot ball looks like. I don't even remember what the colors are in here. So it's fun to knit because I don't always know what's coming. And I've said before, like all the colors meld together, it looks so good. And yeah, I'm hoping to get through some minis with this for sure. Okay, and then I have, these are all just, this is what I have going on. My whole goal is maybe to finish one of these blankets and put some work into the rest of them. I might pull a Kay from Crazy Sock Lady and start doing a Scrappy Sunday or something. Ooh, this is a lot longer than I remember. This is my Northeasterly blanket. Wow. This is really long. I don't remember doing all this. I haven't touched this in a long time. So for this one, I'm using all row 1 minis, and then I am doing that Knit Picks Stroll Dove Heather in between each of them. Oh, look at that. It's a gummy bear. I didn't even know I had that. So there we go. Wow. I really like this. I think I'll pull it out soon. And yeah, so the row 1 minis, I think I did 2 months and it gave me plenty of yarn to work with. So they all come pre-wound, which is lovely. I really thought I had like a whole bunch of Dove Heather in here, but I guess I'm gonna have to order some more. So yeah, like they come like this. The ones that I have, I think are Emma's Yarn. Oh, this one's called Emma's Yarn Nailed It. I love that. And then this one is, oh, those are both Emma's Yarn. Lichen and Lace. That one's Shrub. So pretty. Anyway, so what is that? I have 24 minis in there. I'm not using a whole mini per, if I had to guess, I'd say 20 rows. So these colors will come in again, and then I'll see how long and how wide it goes. And then I have other like minis and scraps that I can use to build it if I need to. But yeah, I'm not really gonna show my bags today. I just have too much here. Speaking of Northeasterlies, I had started a DK one, which I don't know if I'm gonna keep this one just because there's other options out there and maybe I don't need to make 2 of the same blanket. So here's the DK. So that's a nice thing about the Northeasterly, is it comes in different weights. And even if you wanted to hold your fingering double, you could do the DK weight. So I don't remember what these yarns are. I do actually. This is Lolo Did It Cozy Quiet, and that's Lolo Did It Whiskey, I think. This one I'm not sure. But I mean, and believe me when I say this is not all my DK scraps. I have a whole bag of them. This is a Fat Squirrel bag. I love it. It's awesome. I know I just said I wasn't going to show my bags, but I'm trying to speed up because this is getting long. But so these are just ideas for blankets, and this is just what I have on the needles for blankets that I will be working on, but you can also do anything. I am hoping this fall to cast on a scrappy sweater of some sort. I was really inspired to do this when I saw Maddie from We Share Needles. She did the garter marler, and there's a bunch of sweaters out there that are gartered like DK, hold 2 strands of fingering together, or pick a sweater pattern you already have and just use your scraps. The possibilities are endless, guys. I'm really excited about this if you can't tell. All right, this is the last one. For all of my socks that I make, plus a few other random skeins of yarn, I'm making both of my kids a Cozy Memories. This is a pattern by Kemper Wray. If I didn't say, the Northeasterly is by Skeinanigans, and she's got quite a few different types of scrappy blanket projects as well. And then you can use Advent skeins. Oh, Cozy Memories, I love them. They just take a little bit longer. And like for me and the Cozy Memories, because these are very, very long-term projects for me, I do have a pair of signature needles that I use. Signature needles are very sharp and very pricey, but I treated myself to this pair just for this project. I figure I'm going to be working with them for several years. Yeah, there's tons out there that you can do. So I hope that you guys will join me and use your scraps. But yeah, so obviously all of these, this is a I Heart You bag. All of these bags are filled with scraps that I'm intending to go into whatever blanket is in there. And then I also have this basket of fingering weight scraps. So from self-striping yarn to just like Milo socks I finished last month. I don't remember. You know, I have mohair. This was from a sweater I just finished. So, I mean, this is heavy too. That's a lot of scraps. And that's just fingering scraps. I have another bag like this upstairs with DK scraps when I thought I was gonna start a sea glass sweater, which maybe I still will, but whew, this is my DK and worsted scraps. So like all the Corey worsted from my stratified sweater. I have a whole skein left from that. This was, I made a hat for Milo for Christmas. Cascade, I have a bunch of Cascade from a project I was gonna do and never got around to. This looks fingering. But yeah, I have a ton of scrap yarn, so much. It's not realistic to think that I will get it all out of my stash this year. My thoughts, for me personally, is I'm going to be working on especially the Scraptastic stash busting blanket, as well as the bits and bobs to try to finish those. I also have this weird idea that I'm going to make a blanket for my sister for Christmas, my sister-in-law for her new lake house, and then, you know, I might as well just make one for every family. I for sure have enough yarn to do this. So if I can get 2 done this year, I think that would be great. Unfortunately, I really want this stash busting Scraptastic blanket that I am making right now. That one's not gonna be given away. But after that, I can make them to give away. And to me, garter is relaxing. I know it isn't for everybody. I love it. I love garter. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm a process knitter. I love the process of making something more than actually having the finished object. But blankets might change my mind if I actually finish one ever. So that is it for Vital Few, finally. I'm just going to quickly tell you what I'm wearing, and then I'm going to take a quick break. So I'm wearing the Quill Tee by Tiff Nealon. It is made out of magpie fibers. I tested this for Tiff last year. It's got this really neat color work, which is a little muddied by the colors that I chose, but I don't mind it. It's got twisted rib detail on all the ribbing areas. And on the bottom, it's got this cute little picot bind off edging and twisted rib. It fits really well. I really like it. Everything is fitting me a little tight right now. I've put on a little weight from the winter holidays and then having surgery. So, you know, it's fine, it's life. It still fits really nicely and looks really nice on, and I'm going to be wearing it. Along with all these scrappy projects and the 17 other sweaters that I want to cast on, I would like to make a few short sleeve tops this summer as well. In theory, everything sounds like it's gonna go quickly, but I am really not a fast knitter. It may seem like I am because I have a lot to show, but I also, I go 2 to 3 weeks between my videos normally so that I have enough to show. But yeah, I'm an English thrower and we're not known for speed. All right, I'm gonna take a break, I'll be back. Okay, I feel like now you've all seen my inner crazy with all of those big scrappy projects and my scrap bins, and yeah. I have 4 finished objects today, but unfortunately only 2 to show you. One was a gift. If I can, I will insert a picture at some point. I don't know if my editing skills are that good. I've tried to do that in the past and it was beyond me, so I will try today. If I'm not able to, it is on my Ravelry, so you can check there. I finished the Dog Star by Tincanknits for my newest baby nephew. He's my nephew, Henry, and I gifted it to him on Easter. So he has a Dog Star sweater. It's really cute. It's bottom up with color work, a color work yoke, and you start with the sleeves and you attach them as you go. It was very easy, very quick. The color work was a lot of fun. I used a Knit Picks palette in Marble Heather, Abyss Heather, and Tranquil, so it had a really nice pop of blue. And yeah, hopefully I can put a picture in, or just check my Ravelry if you're interested. I also finished 2 pairs of socks. They are both using the Textured Socks 3 Ways pattern by Wray Makes, and I started both of them in October and then they hibernated over the holidays. So the first one I finished was for my daughter. This is, I think, called the Stacked Circles. And the yarn that I'm using is Lolo Did It in the Quibbler, which I really love this color. And yeah, I think it's called Stacked Circles because those kind of look like circles when they're stretched out. I just did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I know I keep saying I want to try different heels, but I keep going to this comfort one. I think that's okay. I still do want to try some different heels this year, but yeah, these are really stretchy. So I made these for my daughter Claire, and she's got a size US women's 8.5, just like me. So I could wear them too, but she loves them. There you can see, they're dirty. She wore them yesterday, but they're really nice. I would definitely recommend any of Wray Makes patterns. I have several of them and they're all very clear, very wonderful. So this one I think is just called the Slip Stitch or the Column Sock. But this one is for me, and I used Yarn Cafe Creations in the Spiked Gingerbread Coffee color. And this is just slip stitches. I don't know exactly, this was just a scrap I had laying around, and for some reason I only did it for the cuff. Again, Fish Lips Kiss heel and the toe. I really love both of these yarns. They were both a lot of fun to work with, and the pattern is great. So here's the other one. This one, she does say to size up, like if you normally make a 64 stitch sock, make a 72, and I did not do that, and I wish I had. They're a little tight. They do fit, but they're a little tight. And you can kind of see like, yeah, I don't know if you can see how it kind of like pulls in a little bit, and yeah, but very fun, very easy. And then my last finished object is now in the trash. I finished the vest number 3 by My Favorite Things, and I don't know what happened. It just didn't work. The whole time I was making it and trying it on, the back was coming up really high, and I was like, that's weird. But I kept going with it. I was like, you know, trust the process, trust the pattern. And then I added the collar, and it was really starting to come together. And I'm like, maybe the collar's just gonna cinch it in and it's gonna be great. And then I finished off the sleeves and I put it on, and it was horrendous. And I was mad and angry and disappointed for like half a minute, and then I was just done. And I just took it and I threw it in the trash. I don't normally do that. I usually try to be more sustainable. You know, I have so many sweaters upstairs that I have plans to rip out and reuse the yarn because it just seems like a waste to throw them out. I couldn't even donate this because it wouldn't fit anybody. Like the neck was up here. it was not the pattern's fault. Many people have made this vest and not had that problem. I'm pretty sure what happened was me, an American user of the imperial metric system, I think I misread centimeters for inches on the back. That's the only thing I can imagine that happened. It's okay. I mean, am I a little disappointed? Yeah. Could I have made a different decision and not thrown it out? Yeah. But I'm okay with it. It honestly felt great to just be like, I'm done. Because that was the second vest I tried to make with that yarn and it didn't work. So, sorry, but it's gone. So yeah, I even deleted the project on Ravelry. I didn't even put it as a frog. It's as if it never existed. So it is gone. So let's move into my works in progress. I don't have that many, which is good. Well, that's not true. I have a ton. And I've actually put some work into some other projects that I'm not going to show today, but just because they don't look wildly different, I'll just wait till they're a little further along before I show them again. So I casted on the DRK Everyday Sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm doing this as part of the DRK March to May. I don't think I'll finish it by the end of this month, but who knows? I'm really enjoying this. It is a sport weight sweater. I'm using Knit Pick's Wool of the Andes and Claret Heather. This is yarn that I had in stash. I did buy it for this sweater, but it's been sitting for a long time, so. And I am very close to the sleeve step separation, and here it is. So I have one more round of increases, and then I will separate for sleeves, which looks about right. Yeah, it's coming along really well. I feel like I just slipped. Nope, we're good. It's coming along really well. I really like this color. It's like a heathered wine. And I think I saw Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady. She made one of these in this color and I was very inspired. I think she might have used Swish, which is a little softer than the Wool of the Andes, but Wool of the Andes doesn't bother me. So yeah, you can see my increases right now. I think that will go away with blocking, but I think this is gonna be nice. This is gonna be another kind of staple sweater for my wardrobe. As much as I love making those colorwork sweaters, it's good to have just the staples that you can throw on, like the Lento or this sweater, I'm hoping, by the time it's done. So here's the yarn, up close and personal. Yeah, so that's coming along. And then I pulled out a very old languishing whip. This is the Livie by Tamy Gore, and I'm making this out of 2 skeins of Lolo Did It yarn. This is Hello Gorgeous and Rumpelstiltskin. I love this yarn combination. I am so happy with this. I started this almost exactly 2 years ago. I put about 3 inches on it, and then I put it in this bag by Chestnut Fibers, and I let it hibernate. I didn't touch it. And this is one that I want. It is the right shape. It is a longer shawl. I could show you the picture instead of trying to describe it. And I think this is gonna be really, really great for my wardrobe. I really like the shape and I love these colors together a lot. So, a lot of yarn ends here. Here it is. I just love this. And where that marker is where I was when I put it away. So here it is. It's not gonna sit like this on me, but I just love it. It looks so good. These colors are so great. I just love it. So yeah, it's coming along wonderfully. I'm at the point in the pattern where it is starting to shift a little bit in the shape. So you can kind of see here where I'd been increasing. Now I stopped increasing. It's a paid for pattern, but it's really fun and I'm really enjoying it. I will say I don't love these needles that I'm like, they're kind of like, I don't know, I feel kind of like I have to wrangle them a lot. It could be because they've been sitting in a project bag for 2 years. I'm not sure. They are Knitter's Pride Dreams. Normally I like these, so I'm sure just maybe they were scrunched up in a weird way and now they kind of have a kink in them maybe. But yeah, this is going to start to get some attention. I mean, shawls for me are never, I really like working on them, but they're not fast for me ever. Unless I'm test knitting one, they're not the first thing that I go for. But I do have a couple more shawls that I would like to start soon, so I'd like to get this one off the needles before I cast on any new ones. Again, trying to get through some old stash, try to move things around into beautiful finished objects. That is always the objective in my world. I did pull out my Free for All Cowl by Jen Peck. This is a free cowl pattern on Ravelry. There it is. This is a super easy cowl. It is knits, purls, yarn overs, knit twos together, all stuff you can do. I am holding Leading Men Fiber Arts worsted weight yarn in King Max with some Quivet yarn that I was given from my parents when they went to Alaska, if you'll remember my bird story. So here they are separate. Oh, pull that one off. And yeah, here it is. I think I have about 2 more repeats of the pattern and then I think I'm done. I think then I sew it together. So yeah, I think I showed you the wrong side. I definitely did. Here we go. Yeah, so it'll go like this and it'll be really warm. That Quivet yarn, the reason I wanted to use it for this project is because it's some of the warmest yarn, because it's the undercoat of an ox, I believe. I believe I'm right. May not be. But yeah, I really like this. At first I thought the colors were gonna be too busy, but at the end of the day, I really like it. It is busy, but I love it. And I think because I'm holding 2 yarns together, it is gonna be a little bit larger than you know, what the sample is, but I'm okay with that too. And I'm so proud of myself. It has like a I-cord on the edge, and almost always when there's an I-cord edging, I have like 1 purl where I forgot to do it, and I have not missed it on this whole cowl. So hooray for small victories. I have not messed up the edging at all. I really like it. I think it's gonna be good. Super easy, super fun. Highly recommend if you're looking for a free worsted cowl pattern. And this is in my Star Wars bag. I don't know who made this. I got it off of Etsy many years ago. On to socks. While we were traveling to Texas, I brought 3 projects, as you do, but I really only worked on 1. So I finished the first of my husband's 2 socks. Here it is. This is Nomadic Yarns. The color is Gillyweed, which I know she doesn't name it that. I don't know if she still dyes this color, but just look for something similar with a different name on her site. And yeah, this is 72 stitches, fish lips, kiss heel. I do all of my socks magic loop. I did that thing where you knit one, slip one when the colors changed, and it gave it that kind of toothy look, but you can't tell that when it's far away. Yeah, and so I finished 1. I did this on all of my flights, and we did a lot of driving, so some of the time in the car as well. And I will be casting on the second one soon. These, I want to get it done, but I think this will be like Father's Day gift for my husband, so I'm not working too hard on them right now. I also did start a pair of socks for my friend Chris. We have very good friends, Chris and Julie. And Julie, I committed to making Chris a pair of socks this year. And then Julie was like, he would really like Green Bay Packer socks. And I was like, okay, I can do that. So this is the yarn that I found online. And I think the colorway is called Green Bay Packers. I started these bottom up, and I started doing the library socks pattern by the kitchen sink. I'm gonna rip this out and start over, not because there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there is pooling and flashing, but that doesn't bother me. this is going to be a very large sock. Chris has, I think, size US men 15 feet. I've never made socks that big before. And I just started to worry that maybe I would run out of yarn. So I'm going to start these over cuff down with different yarn for the cuff and the heel. And I'll probably have Chris try them on at some point. But yeah, and then if I need to use another contrast for the toe, I can. I just don't want to run out of yarn. Yeah, but this is super soft. I really, really enjoy this base. It looks good. I mean, I don't know why you would like this color combination if you were not a Packer fan, but I mean, it's cute. It's great. So that is it for my works in progress. Things are coming along just fine. Obviously, I'm still working on my zigzag scarf. I've actually put a couple inches in on that recently. Bits and bobs I've been working on. Scraptastic blanket, which you saw I've been working on. I would like to start a pair of socks for my mom for Mother's Day. I have gotten some new yarn in the mail. Ashley from Nomadic Yarns, she is one of my favorite self-striping yarn dyers, and she had Pride and Prejudice colorways, and I had to. And then there were some other ones. Yeah, I bought some yarn lately. I am quitting now for a while. When I look at all my scraps and when I'm looking for new places to store yarn in my house, that's when I have that moment where I'm like, just take a break, get some out. It's always going to be like a conveyor belt, right? Some in, some out, and that's fine. But yeah, I need to make space. Okay, let's get to book club really, really quick. I did not read a ton for as long as I've been away. I finished Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. I gave that 4 stars. I really ended up liking it. That is the Arthurian novel series, Legendborn, and you know, there was a point where it was like a little bit of a slog, and then it got really great. So I'm really excited for the next book in the series. I think it's really excellent. I also finished Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I gave that 3 stars. I didn't even realize that like, this is already like way in my past. I thought I really was enjoying it, and then it got really stupid and I just got annoyed with it. But then the ending was okay, so I gave it 3 stars, which was generous. I also finished On the Way to the Wedding by Julia Quinn. I gave that 3 stars. That is Colin Bridgerton's book. No, Gregory Bridgerton's book. I have now finished all of the Bridgerton books that I'm going to read. I read everybody's story from Anthony to Gregory, and I think I gave them all around 3 stars. They're charming. I don't love the narrator, but it's okay. They're relaxing for me. So this is what I read or listened to on the plane because it kind of just put me in a nice state of mind. When I finished On the Way to the Wedding, I started An Offer from a Gentleman again, but also by Julia Quinn, which was Benedict's story. That one's my favorite. I don't know if it's actually any better. I just like that one the most. And then I also finished Under the Banner of Heaven by John Krakauer. And oh Lord, that one was, that's a doozy of a book. I put it up in my stories and I forgot to highlight it as part of my 2023 books, but I never had so many people respond to one of my book stories as this one. A lot of questions, a lot of thoughts. Okay, there is a series on Hulu. My husband and I started watching it. We're on, I think, episode 3. It starts with the murder of a young mother and her child, and the murderers are her husband's Mormon brothers. So the book starts in the same way, but then it goes really far back, like to the beginnings of Mormonism. It really felt like almost like a historical text about Mormonism, but all the bad stuff. So I don't know. I would not have gotten through it if I hadn't been listening to it. Listening to it, I could just kind of power through. And my interest in the Hulu series was sort of helping me with that, like wanting to kind of understand what was happening. But I don't know that I would recommend it. I also read Into the Wild a long time ago, and I thought that was a really good book. he's a great writer, but this was dry, and like he glosses over some pretty disturbing things when it goes into like child brides. And I mean, I just felt like every one of those women deserves a little bit more than just a mention in a paragraph. But that is just me. So yeah, any bad story you've ever heard about a Mormon, they talk about it in this book. I don't know. It wasn't a great, like, I don't know. Would I recommend it? Probably not, but I was in a place where I found it interesting and I gave it 3 stars. I think in Goodreads, it is rated like solid 4 stars. I don't know. I think it was good, but dry and hard to get through. So currently I'm reading The Do-Over by Suzanne Park, and that's pretty light. The plot so far is that this main character, whose name escapes me because I'm only on like chapter 3, is interviewing for a high-powered job. She's a shoo-in until she isn't, because it turns out she never actually graduated college 10 years ago. So I think she is going back to school. I think it's a back-to-school empowerment story, which should be fun. And then I'm also listening to on Audible Tear Me Apart by J.T. Ellison. And this is kind of just a contemporary novel. The main subject of the book is Mindy, who is a 17-year-old downhill skier who's Olympic bound. And as she is doing a championship ski run in bad weather, she has a terrible crash, ends up breaking her leg, having to have surgery. And in the midst of all this, they find out that she has cancer. And then furthermore, they find out that she's not biologically related to either one of her parents. So that is where I'm at with it. The thing it's compelling, it's keeping my interest, but there's a lot of point of view shifting, which is not always my favorite. Like, it has to be done really, really well. And I think there's only one narrator, but I don't know. She sounds, I think the narration is what I'm not liking. And it's really hard to have sympathy for some of the characters so far. So that's what I'm reading. I did get another new book that I'm excited to read soon. I do still have The People We Keep Around. That is by Allison Larkin. I'm like still at the beginning of that one. It's just not grabbing me. I will come back to it. It will get read, but it's just taking a break while I read some other things I'm a little bit more into right now. So that's all I have today. I hope you will join me for scraps, minis, and more. Please like, subscribe if you want, leave a comment, let me know what you're working on. And thank you as always for taking some time out of your day to spend it with me. Bye, I'll see you next time.